What's up, nation citizens? Tyler Yaremchuk here, and the NHL's trade deadline is coming this Friday. We are less than 5 days away from the deadline, so I figured now's the perfect time to give you my official 2025 trade deadline prediction for the Edmonton Oilers. And listen, this might not be as sexy or as flashy as some of you like, but I'm trying to be a little bit realistic here. I really don't think the Oilers are going to go out and give up Matt Savoy or give up multiple first-round picks to go get any of the true big fish that are out there on the market, but I do think they will make two impactful adds at the deadline. The first one will come in a trade with the Boston Bruins, where the Edmonton Oilers will acquire Trent Frederic for a second-round pick in 2026. It'll be their second rounder next year. They don't have a first this year. They don't have a fourth, only a second and a third. So I think they'll dip into the 2026 draft pick pool a little bit here. And my comparable for this deal is somewhat close to the Nick Bjugstad trade from a couple of years ago. But because Frederic isn't as good of a centerman as Bjugstad was, the Oilers don't have to give up another prospect in the deal like they did a couple of years ago when acquiring Bjugstad. So it's simple, a second-round pick for Trent Frederic, who is a rental, a pending UFA, so he'll hit free agency at the end of the season. But there's been rumblings the Oilers want to acquire a player who can maybe push for a top six spot, but they also want to beef up their bottom six a little bit. Frederic is versatile enough where he can be a fourth-line center for you. He can be a third-line winger, and I think if you play him with skill, he can slide up your lineup and maybe even be a nice fit with someone like Leon Draisaitl, who always seems to work well with a good puck-retrieving winger, and Frederic does exactly that. He's a big body, he'd add some jam, and as he's proven over the last couple of seasons, he knows how to find the back of the net as well. So Frederic comes in for a second-round pick, and then the Oilers beef up their blue line as well. I think they really want to add size, and you can't get much bigger than 6'7" Jamie Alexiak. The comparable I used for acquiring Alexiak was the Brett Kulak trade from a number of seasons ago, where the Oilers gave up a second-round pick and William Lagesson. Now, a little bit different. Kulak was a bit cheaper in terms of his cap hit, but he also was a pending UFA. The Oilers had to re-sign him at the end of the season. Jamie Alexiak, he comes in with one more year left on his deal, but a bit of a higher cap hit at $4.1 million. Now, the Oilers can stomach that cap hit, assuming Evander Kane's going to stay on LTIR for the rest of the season, which I'm assuming that he will. So they give up a second-round pick, and they give up defenseman Phil Kemp. It's pretty much same thing as Kulak. A second-round pick and William Lagesson is a second-round pick and Phil Kemp. The Kraken are going to be in full-on sell-off mode with Yanni Gourde and Brandon Tanev expected to go out the door as well. So I think this deal is honestly pretty simple for the Oilers to make. Give up your second-round pick in 2025. You might not like that you only have one pick in the first 4 rounds of the draft, but you can always recoup a late round pick at some point by trading off an older roster player in June. You can worry about that then. The worry right now is adding good players onto the roster. And I think by doing these two moves, while they're not adding a top pairing defenseman or a true top 6 30 goal scoring winger, I think they're adding two players that definitely scratch some itches. Now, a lot of you are going to be upset that they're not going and trading for a Mikko Rantanen or doing anything crazy like that. And a lot of you will be upset that I don't have them trading for a goalie either. But from everything I've heard, I don't think they're going to be trading for a goalie, so I'm not going to include it in my prediction. Jordan Binnington is too expensive, and I don't think he's truly available out of St. Louis. John Gibson is also very, very, very expensive, and he's been pretty inconsistent over the last number of seasons. He might not be a bona fide solution. Now, if you could get an Alex Lyon out of Detroit or someone like Cam Talbot, again, very unrealistic because Detroit's trying to make the playoffs, then sure, go take a shot at a cheaper goalie. I just don't think that name is out there right now, so I'm not including it in my predictions. Would the Oilers be better off if they acquired a goaltender to ride with Stuart Skinner, someone who is maybe better than Calvin Pickard or had more of an upside? Yes, I am not arguing that at all. But what I'm saying is I don't think that trade is out there for the Edmonton Oilers to make. So make two moves that you can. Go get Jamie Alexiak. Add some size to the left side of your blue line. He's a guy who can play the right side as well. Trent Frederic, a good puck retrieving, physical winger who, again, can play center. I think he's better as a winger, but he can play center as well. So there you go. That's my official prediction. The Oilers get Alexiak and they get Trent Frederic. Now, if they can't get Frederic, I do think they'd have interest in a guy like Jake Evans. And something that came down the pipe today that I do think would be of interest to them, if Brandon Carlo's available out of Boston, he is a pretty young, right shot, cost-controlled defenseman with a number of years left on his contract. I would be very interested in giving up a few more assets and maybe doing a package deal that involves both Trent Frederic and Brandon Carlo. Carlo would be a major add, and I think he would fit like a glove on the right side of this Oilers blue line. So those are my two kind of asterisks. I think they'll have interest in Jake Evans, and I think if Brandon Carlo is truly available, the Oilers should be making a call on him, and maybe there's a bigger deal to be had. But for now, my prediction, it's maybe a bit of a lowercase one, maybe not, maybe a little underwhelming, to be quite honest with you, but I think it's a realistic one. The Oilers will get Jamie Alexiak and Trent Frederic ahead of Friday's deadline. Who's your favorite deadline target? Let me know in the comments below. What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.